back to the 964 build. Where we left off, we have this giant monstrosity that I pulled out of the car, and my next goal was to strip it enough to get hardware out to go get zinc coated. There's a small change of plans though. It's been in the plans to have this car dry ice blasted. Scott over at Dryce is the guy when it comes to dry ice cleaning a car, and we're fortunate enough to have him like 40 minutes away. So this is a project that is literally right up his alley, and this whole thing's gonna look brand new. We ran into the dilemma of, do we do it with the engine out of the car, do we do it with the engine in the car? So the plan was to bring the car as it sits now, because it'll be easy for him to kind of clean the stuff that's already been removed from the car. But he mentioned to me, before I send out all the stuff to get zinc coated, he thinks that he'll be able to clean it up enough where I won't even need to pull a lot of stuff off, and a lot of stuff that I would have had re-zinced, he thinks will look brand new. So what I'm gonna do is show up with the transmission, with the engine. We're gonna clean both of those, and then I'm gonna leave the car there so he can do his thing on the car. But then we'll actually see what stuff needs to get zinc plated so I don't end up stripping and taking apart stuff that I don't maybe need to take apart. So today's goal, get the exhaust off, get the tin off, that way we can access all the stuff that he would wanna clean, and then we'll resume over with him. I keep on needing to like calm myself because I'm just looking at this like, oh man, I'm gonna need to find this and I'm gonna need to find that. Just gotta take it step by step. It's not that big of a deal. Everything's gonna be okay. Throw it in the powder coating pile. Sucked. Yeah, originally I was just gonna leave all that together, but you know, scope creep. So now that's off. I guess it makes it easier to see and access everything, but where do I stop now? Might as well make it 4 liter, you know?
It's only another 0.4.
Yeah. Pull off the power steering pump assembly to get the rear tin off of the engine. Cool fact, the power steering is driven off the cam. Kind of neat.
Huh.
Kind of scary, but kind of neat. Now I'm doing what I didn't want to do. I'm gonna pull off the whole intake manifold assembly, which there's a lot going on. I'm gonna try to leave as much intact as I can, but essentially because it's an air-cooled engine, all of the air that it's sucking from the outside gets pushed over the engine. Apparently that's where all the gross dirt and grime is, so I'm gonna take it off and we're gonna clean there too. Intake manifold's about ready to come off, but I'm trying to figure out what's gonna want to come off with it. We can't figure out how to fit this through the hole.
That's not what happened.
That is what happened. We can't figure it out, and it already broke and cracked once, so we're gonna end up replacing this. Looks expensive.
And
yeah.
It's already brittle as
I mean, it was already cracked here, to be fair, so. I know, that's what I'm saying. But then we can
let the pieces go in the intake.
That's why I'm cutting it away from the intake, Sean.
Got a goddamn turbine on your engine.
Yeah, it's not going any farther than this. I don't care what Wes tells me over the phone. Fun fact, this hill that we're going up right now is the highest point in Florida. It's like 60 feet of elevation. You gotta be careful going on here, your ears might pop. A lot of us Floridians were used to just flat ground, you know, speed bumps are a typical elevation for us. So this is crazy.
I feel it already.
You feel that? I don't know if the truck's got enough power to make it up the hill, dude. We're almost there, 300 feet away. Yeah, so this is just held on there by one nut, so I can pull the whole intake manifold off.
Okay.
I can clean it separately. Yeah, and what you said before about like taking apart an engine that's clean versus dirty. Oh man, it sucked taking it apart. What I am going to need your help on though is making sure like everything's plugged well, because I just have paper towels stuffed and stuff right now, and I'm sure that's not the move for ice.
That's great. So probably the doors painted. I can see it a little bit. You can see the texture right here to here.
Scott, I haven't given you a formal introduction to my video. Just met Scott, pulling out a paint meter to my car, crushing my dreams.
No,
I'm just playing.
I know,
Yeah.
but I will tell you, for 43 years, I'm now playing the role of my wife.
Yeah.
Because I'd bring a great car home that I loved, and she wouldn't even get this out. She just walked in and was like, well, that's painted.
Oh, that's the
Oh, that's got
worst.
dirt. And I'm like, can you just look at the car for a second first before you like kill me?
Look, if anything's repainted on the car, I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm really happy with it because it looks good, and I don't know. So
Yeah.
This is really nice. This is original. The front fender's just the door so far.
So for those of you that don't know, this basically measures the thickness of the paint, and if it's extra thick, it's probably been repainted.
So this little thing here is a polished nib, and it's just like a submarine. So it sends a signal through the coating, hits the metal, bounces back, measures the time it takes. That's how it knows how thick it is.
That means it's radioactive.
No.
So does it only work on metal panels?
This is a ferrous non-ferrous, so you can use aluminum or metal, steel. The
But on
original
a plastic bumper, it
no, it
wouldn't
won't work.
Got it.
Yeah. So if you're a Corvette or carbon fiber, you're safe. Nobody can use this. This is maybe one layer clear. That's right on the edge because
Got
they're
it.
4.5 to 5. They were pretty consistent.
So you think it is single stage then, if it's that thin?
I do. So now you could have a scenario where they cleared something, right, when they redid the door and the hood, but it's really, the color match is fantastic.
What I found is a car of this age, for it to have its little rock chips on the hood or the front bumper,
The car is fantastic. How many miles
I
supposedly?
think it's like 40,000 miles. It's like 70,000 kilometers or something.
Yeah, that's why. Water or humidity in any aspect of dry ice blasting is a disaster.
So you said the AC runs to, like it's a downdraft, but AC runs through it rather than it pulling from outside?
So if you look around the back corner,
Yeah.
you'll see the HEPA filters, so it doesn't go outside.
Got it.
So we constantly filter the air, but leave the air in here because we need it like 71 or 2, 40% humidity. If you don't have that, if you have high humidity, you get the white vapor, which is great for videos, but it sucks for trying not to hurt the car. So this is our liquid CO2. So CO2 exists in 3 forms: liquid, gas, and solid. So this is going to be the end of our civilization, the whole CO2 problem, ironic. But it's 3,000 pounds, which will make about 1,000 to 1,200 pounds of dry ice.
Wow.
So it takes 2.3 pounds of liquid to make 1 pound of dry ice. And so it's really weird. If I opened a valve and just let liquid come out on the floor, this is under 200 PSI pressure. As soon as it's not under pressure, it turns to snow. Just like poof. If you want to put it back to liquid, you scoop it up, put it in a vessel, charge it with 200 PSI, it goes back to liquid.
That's pretty cool.
Super freaky. And then once it's snow, it goes into one of these machines and we compact it and it comes out the end like a pasta machine. It basically compresses it. I followed it for 15 years prior to 2019 because we have a contract with Caterpillar Tractors Federal Defense Products. We bought and sold several thousand pieces of construction equipment and trucks for the military and government agencies. And I was always looking for a way to clean that. You'll see a military Carc painted vehicle in the next room. You can't clean that stuff. I don't care what chemical, pressure, steam, you can't clean that paint. So I always felt like dry ice would be the magic. And I finally just made the plunge. There's a lot, I don't want to do too much talking, but the bottom line is ICS in Slovakia came out with a machine that would crush the pellets in 2014. And my first machine was in Ohio, made by Coldjet. So they basically took the technology from ICS fairly. There was no patent here, so they made their own version. That's the one I was introduced to first.
Cool.
And I was always trying to make my cars better than everyone else. Looks better and it is better, people pay more.
All right, guys, I'm interrupting the video here, not to advertise something for you to buy, but advertising to you guys that we do have a position opening at LZMFG, which is pretty huge, where you could come and be a part of the team. What we're looking for is a product development specialist to work with our design and production team to help us source products like clothing and other stuff that would live well with the LZMFG brand, to form capsules, collections, heavy in the planning, heavy in the communication. Of course, you gotta have an eye for stuff that looks cool. I wanna be very clear that this is not an entry-level position. We are not looking for an internship. We want someone that has walked the walk and has a resume that speaks for itself to help us elevate the LZMFG brand. If you think you might be a good fit, message your resume over to james@lzmfg.com. Put that on the screen right here and we'll hit you back.
The important part in this room is the compressed air solution. And so this is our 40 horse compressor. Hey Wes.
Yep.
What did you hit that big red button?
Yeah. Was I not supposed to?
No.
You said hit the red button. I didn't. Oh.
I would definitely hit this one.
Yeah, right? It's like, it looks scary, you know?
Yeah, that's all right.
This is like the ticket for dry ice working, right?
This is the problem that there's two things about these systems that everybody says they have a big compressor. And what they really mean is they have a big tank.
Got it.
And so this is 40 horse. It's not enough to leverage the newest machine we have. You really can't, like it would take 100 horse electric compressor to power that machine to the fullest. But we don't need it for cleaning cars. We don't need it that dramatic. But that device there, that desk and dryer, that silver thing,
Yep.
that's the magic.
I don't know anything about these. I just wanted to touch the seat.
Well, just for fun,
yeah.
all four of these together, what would you estimate?
They're worth?
Yeah.
I've got no idea.
I didn't either, so don't feel bad.
Let me throw another. It's obviously expensive. They look like they're in good shape. We'll say like 30 to 40 a pop.
They're $400 to $500 a set.
Wow.
That one's probably 120 to 150. These are 100 each.
Why so much?
So they're 750 Agustas made in the early to mid 70s, and they are all dry clutch fitted, where they removed the wet clutch and the propeller shafts, so they're lighter weight. So they have chains and dry clutches, and they're just very, very limited. I mean, it's just one of the most valuable bikes that you can own.
They're yours?
No,
Oh.
they're not. A very good friend of mine, local, his dad had a business that made the frames for Rolex watches.
All right.
Pretty
cool.
Yeah, so he's got a huge collection of cars locally here, and so we're gonna sell these for him. His dad bought these like 20, 30 years ago.
Looks pretty good for making trails.
Yeah, I saw your trail thing
Yeah.
last time. I'm like, But it's 50 mile an hour on the road.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a Unimog. It's a Mercedes Unimog that they sold through Freightliner to the government. But if you look at this front part here, I left a little spot that we didn't dry ice. And when you dry ice it, it's the proper green. And it's like not that big a thing, you know, but if you're one of these guys, you can't get like the crayon marks off, you can't get sticker adhesive off, you can't do anything with them. So that was a big deal, discovering that dry ice works on these. The whole military world, they don't have any idea yet. Unassuming 78 308.
Why is it your favorite?
In the late 80s, somebody wedged a 1970 V12 Colombo in it instead of the V8.
And it works good?
Oh, it's like 170 or 80 horsepower with a V8.
Mm-hmm.
This is 330 to 340.
Sweet.
So it's the horsepower that every person that ever owned a 308 or 328 wanted. It's a wackadoodle. The guy spent, I have the receipts, in 88 through 90, he spent $100,000 to put that motor in there. So like if you did this today,
It's a cool find.
yeah, it's really cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the
Straps.
on the pallet.
On the
Yeah.
It's crazy how much easier it is to lift up now.
Now that the straps aren't on the pallet. Yeah.
How are we looking?
You got a little more to go.
It's
How about that? Almost that. Sweet.
okay. Now what?
Now. Well, now the weight should be on that, right? In theory. So I should be able to release this. And whatever this is, this looks like something oil related maybe. before I go and take this thing apart and do the typical vapor honing, zinc treatment, Scott wanted to give it a shot with dry ice blasting because apparently a lot of this zinc will clean up and look brand new, where it might actually save me quite a bit of effort of taking a lot of this intricate stuff apart. Mainly like the throttle body and this stuff is really hard to restore because taking apart, getting all the springs dialed and everything is not very fun. Little brackets like this are easy, but not being as familiar with this, it's kind of a little scarier for me to remember which bolts go where. Because most of the time when I get stuff plated, all the bolts go in a bucket, so then afterwards you got to sort and figure out what goes where.
That machine is what you used.
Got it.
That's an 022. That's like the starter, like, hey, this is how this works. You always want more. This is the newest evolution. That's the monster that just came into production. This we brought to market last year. This is the perfect, we got 40 of these in place in the market. It's the perfect car machine.
Got it.
It's $14,500 and it's 145 PSI and it's the only machine in that caliber with particle control.
And this is the same one that Matt sells?
Yes.
Is that the airline?
It is.
Mike.
Ah.
You see the airline?
That's a fire hose.
This is crazy. Yeah, we hooked ours up to a little shop air hose.
Yeah.
It's probably why it didn't work as
It's
good.
a whole different animal. It really is. It's the hardest part about this industry, the instantaneous, like, oh, it's like a pressure washer, and it's just so not. You have to get everything right, and for every element that you don't get right, it doesn't work, and then you get frustrated.
It's very industrial.
It is, and it's artistic. Like if you hand somebody the best scalpel in the world, doesn't mean you can do heart surgery.
Yeah.
Right? You know, it's a really good tool, but if you don't know how to use it, it's worthless.
Yeah.
I think that what you equated it to me was, someone that's pressure washing and doesn't know what they're doing. They leave a bunch of streaks and circles everywhere. You do the same thing. It's the same thing with vapor honing too, in the cabinet. If you're not paying attention to what you're doing, you can get away with a little bit there, but like you can see the swirl marks if you're not consistent with your distance away from it, with how you overlap. I think it's kind of like painting in a way too.
It is. Yeah, we call this reverse painting. And the downside of this, if you screw up a paint job, you just repaint it. If you screw this up, it's done.
Oh, space.
I know, it looks like he's ready to go to the moon.
Okay.
Glasses, ear protection? Yeah. All right, I'm a believer. I'd say this probably saved me from having to take apart this entire monstrosity. Looking at it, I think the only things that I would probably have zinc coated, maybe the fuel rails, just because these are all like scratched up. But pretty much everything cleaned up like brand new. Maybe hose clamps too, but it's not a bad idea to replace these either way.
Yeah, the whole top section just looks factory fresh.
Yep. And like, it's a double-edged sword, right? Like sometimes you should replace clamps, but then other times, every clamp you touch is a new risk of somewhere that could leak, could spring or something like that. Thankfully, this engine's already pretty low mileage, so all this rubber's in really good shape.
Yeah.
It's not like an old Nissan where it's really brittle and everything's just about to crack or explode. All this stuff feels really good. There we go. Look at that. Fans out. Yeah, so magnesium, very weak. For that reason, I'm not going to be powder coating it. This one was already bad.
That's
so
your
we're
new
taking
hole
off.
saw.
I thought this would make a cool desk piece, but I want to clean it first.
Yeah,
It's
it
got
won't
cool
clean.
patina.
Just so you know, Porsche Classic Center will not disclose how to properly treat magnesium to look original, but there is a process.
Really? Do you know?
They won't tell me. They
Oh.
won't tell anybody.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it
If we
was
dry
a
ice
joke and it was dry ice.
No, if you dry ice it, it just looks a little better.
Got it.
Yeah, they don't come like fun clean. So we didn't hurt anything.
No.
Yeah.
Scott pulled out the big guns. What's the deal with that one?
So that's the 410S. That's the monster. That thing is the only machine in the world that will go up to 232 psi with particle control in the machine. We're not going to run it that high, but when we do have bare aluminum, we can really go at it and go to town. It's going to be wacky fun. It's really cool.
Sick. So we're doing trans, engine, and a couple other small parts, and that's it. I'm visiting you from the future because I forgot to film this clip when we were at Scott's dry ice blasting. Something I used to do a lot is give away parts from the builds as we go into them. I thought it'd be cool to give away the air cooling fan from my motor that has some cracks on it if you want to have it on your wall, on your desk piece. I can either leave it raw and tarnished looking like this, or I could vapor on it, or I could paint it mint green if you want it to match the car. Obviously it's cracked, so you're not gonna run it on your car, but it is magnesium, which I think is pretty cool. This is what the one that I'm gonna be putting on the car looks like, so I could paint it if you wanted to look like that. Here's how I'm gonna pick who gets the fan. Number one, you gotta be a fan yourself. But more importantly, I'm just gonna pick a random comment that pops up the first day that this video is uploaded, which is today, Friday. Comment something funny. It doesn't need to be a joke, just something that, you know, brings a smile to people that are reading your comment. I'm not necessarily gonna pick the comment that gets the most likes, but I'm gonna read through the comments, and if you got something funny, I'll pick you. But I guess what would be smart is at the end of your comment, put your Instagram name, and I'll just send you a DM on there because it's easier than trying to use YouTube to talk to you. But anyway, tell me something funny, and you might get the fan. We can paint it for you if you want or whatever. All right, back to the video. That would take so long scrubbing with the greaser. I don't even think it would get half of it.
I don't think that there's any other process that can do that. I really don't. I mean, I've been cleaning stuff all my life. It's just, it's gonna be wet and damp because it's absorbing humidity from the air because it's cold. It'll dry off, but it came out really nice. Now, this is the point where you can look at it and say, man, if I just could get that vapor home look,
Yep.
you're there. You got all the grease off.
Well, I mean, that's part of the issue too with the vapor running machine. If you don't clean it first,
The grease gets in
it
there.
ruins the whole machine. So you have to clean it either way.
Yeah.
Then you can kind of see, and like, it kind of gives you an idea what areas to focus on. saved me so much time. The biggest thing that I was worried about is like all of the little brackets and things on the engine. If I wanted to fully dismantle this thing and get everything zinc plated, it would be an absolute nightmare. So much of it cleaned up and literally looks brand new. Like, look at the throttle body. People would restore this and like take it all apart. It still looks brand new. So super, super convenient. Even the stuff that's off the car, like look at the AC compressor. Looks beautiful. So ironically, Scott made it very clear that he is not accepting work. So if you want to get stuff done, unfortunately Scott can't do it for you. However, you can head over to DryceNation and that will show you all the people that do dry ice blasting in your area. So if you want stuff like this done, whether it's a motor or a car, which you guys will see in a future video, that would be where to check it out. So I'm gonna load this stuff back up in the trailer. I still got my work cut out for me with the engine. We'll go over the car, get a couple before shots to kind of set the stage of what's to come, and then he'll have plenty of time with the car. We'll get back, and thanks to him, we get a beautifully clean engine, so while we're taking it apart, it'll be a lot easier on us. I wish it was a motorcycle, so you could see like all the fins and everything. Everything just gets hidden underneath the shroud.
Yeah.
So it's like all, especially like, at least underneath, most people don't run a tray, so you'll be able to see when the car goes up in the air, it's gonna look amazing.
Well, just so you know, everything we do here involves, well, mostly the bottom of the car. People usually don't see that either, but the people that care about it see it. You know, it's up on a lift and it matters.
Well, hopefully a lot of people will see this video, and then a lot of people did see it,
Yeah.
and then it's worth it. But I don't know. I just like knowing that everything's clean and everything's nice.
I'm totally with you.
It makes the difference. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm gonna get these in the trailer. Do you want to quickly just look at the car on the lift just to see what we're working with, if there's any questions or anything?
I'm probably in a pickle. I got a 6 o'clock dinner engagement.
Oh, get out of there. No, that's easier for me. I gotta get out of here too.
So yeah.
Just FaceTime me or whatever, and then if there's any questions,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure you got all your answers. I know there's a lot of, Matt said there's certain people like this, certain people don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I always default to the most obnoxious Porsche person, and then if you're like, I don't care about that, I don't care about that, that's for you to choose.
Matt was saying you're a stickler about keeping all the factory stickers.
You know, there's markings, there's stickers, and there's things that to a lot of people matter, but you know, obviously he's a different animal and you guys are different as well. So I tell all my, you know, DryceNation Patreon people, understand the customer's expectations. That's all that matters. Like, you can share opinions about what the result could be one way or the other, but meet their expectations and you can't lose. So we'll do that. We'll do a FaceTime and
Cool.
make sure I was pointing out the stuff that I think is interesting, and you can say, I don't care about that. Or,
All right.
yeah, save it.
Cool. Well,
Like that would have had a VIN sticker on the bottom,
Uh-huh.
and it wasn't there.
Got it.
So I was watching for it, but it wasn't there. So.
No, I saw you with your thumb like over the other stickers so they wouldn't fly off and stuff. I really appreciate it.
Looking forward to seeing it in the car.
No, it's
Again,
gonna.
yeah.
I'm looking forward to getting home and working on it now. It sucked before I get covered in fluid every time I touched it.
Oh, I know it.
There you go. Now we're in. Got everything back home in the shop, and the first thing I worked on bright and early was stripping all of the hardware that needed to be stripped off the engine. And I'm doing something that I don't normally do because I'm not very familiar with the Porsche engine. And I basically made a spreadsheet and labeled every single bolt. Took a bunch of photos because the ideal way to do this, when I send all my hardware to Mike Miller over at New JDM, who does all the zinc and used to do all the vapor honing for our builds before we got our own machine. It's easiest for him if I send everything in a bucket so he can do all the zinc plating at once. But for me, not being familiar with a lot of this hardware, at least I can reference photos and understand what's what instead of just getting overwhelmed looking at a bag of bolts. So I'm gonna save these 2 pieces of white paper and lay everything out when it comes back. Engine's pretty much stripped. I got a couple nuts just holding on the valve cover so they don't leak oil. Scott saved me an immense amount of time, especially on the intake manifold. The fact that everything came back looking this new, I can leave all this zinc. I think it looks just as good as if I had it re-zinced, and it looks like a fully restored intake manifold. So I was very, very impressed with the result of the dry ice cleaning on the engine, but the real transformation is gonna be on the underside of the car. So I'm excited to see how that comes out. I think he probably should be tackling it next week or so. Goal is to have the engine all dialed in. That way when the car comes back, it's ready to go in. Really just gonna take my time with it, get it all back together, and I'll bring you guys along for the ride. I know a lot of you guys are commenting I should get Jimmy down here for this. Jimmy wanted to come down so bad. In fact, we were originally planning on it. However, he has a child expecting to be coming very, very soon. So smart for him to hang out up there with the boys and of course his lady. And he's always a phone call away. So we'll have to FaceTime him and ask him some questions as we dive back into stuff. But I think that's gonna be it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed seeing the transformation of all the cool stuff. And I'll see you guys soon.
Is that the airline? It is. Mike.
Ah.
You see the airline?
That's a fire hose.
This is crazy. Yeah, we charged with a little shop air hose.